Evening at the Movies is a proud member of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network. Other shows in the network include Mass Debaters, The Sip List, Crushgasm, Love is Black, Men Are the Prize, Crime Rewind, and Literature Reapers. You can find out all about our shows and more at idnmtrpodcastnetwork.com. Happy listening. You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to An Evening at the Movies.
Hi. How's everybody? Happy Memorial Day, people. Even though, well, to the live audience, happy Memorial Day. To the rest of y'all, happy 2 days after Memorial Day. But if you're not joining us live, then what the fuck, people, because we're better when we're live.
Well, they're probably out
Just
celebrating the holiday, but it's raining here and we had zero plans anyway, so.
There is no barbecues to be had, no fireworks to watch, no parades to participate. Well, there probably is parades and fireworks.
Yeah, there's definitely barbecues, but
Barbecue.
we would have been at the lake with
And
Brandon.
you don't have to have.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, you don't have to have nice weather to do a barbecue. Barbecue is very much in a sense a part of the Memorial Day. So, but happy Memorial Day to all of the people who have fought and served our country and made it the place that it is for us to live and given us the freedom to have this platform so that Amanda and I can voice our correct opinions about TV shows, whether other people tend to disagree or not. We shall not name names.
Mhm.
But my plobster knows who I'm referring to.
Well, I just wanted to say happy Memorial Day and thank you to my dad and my brother who have served and did a great job and they're still with us. So hopefully at least my dad can hear me say thank you. And thank you to our bestie, Dr. soon-to-be Colonel Tyson Shulin, who is currently deployed representing our country right now. So thank you, Tyson. Love you. Miss you. And of course, thank you to everyone else too. We appreciate you. Even though you may hate what you're having to stand for sometimes, you're still doing something the rest of us aren't doing. So, yeah.
I did not say that. Oh, that was not what I wanted to push. That one. Public save.
Oh, good, because I already shared it. So.
It's Monday. My brain is already freaking checked out. But now that we've ranted and raved and celebrated for a good 3 minutes and 42 seconds, welcome to An Evening at the Movies, the movie-based podcast where we eat stale popcorn, drink the watered-down sodas, and talk about all of our favorite movies or TV shows and why we love them.
The movie-based podcast where we review TV shows.
We will get to today's subject in a second and why. You know what? It's been 4 years, and if people don't know why you and I are discussing this, then
have we met?
We love the dozens to death, but yeah, exactly. So for those of you listening and watching out there in the interweb land, say hi to the co-host. Hi, co-host.
Hi, co-host. Sorry, I'm texting my husband to ask him to bring me a snack if he gets up off the couch at all. My gummy's starting to kick in. I have the munchies. I'm sad our guest isn't here. Josh needs to suck it up and stop being sick. You know what happens when I get sick? I stop being sick, and I'd be awesome instead. True story.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've recorded an evening at the movies sick before. Just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I sounded like shit, and we had to re-record the episode many, many months later. But I still sucked it up and did it.
Well, that's okay.
And
But
it-
we miss you, Josh.
there was
And
the infamous Hangover episode.
yeah.
um,
Casey's hungover. We have to redo this.
I believe the phrase you're looking for is anyway.
One of the many,
Spoiler alert
many,
for what we
many
are talking about.
things. Oh, all right. I gotta wait a second. I think our delay is like whatever. One of the many, many phrases that came from season one
About
of
what?
this particular show that I still say to this day. So many good ones. So,
Anyway.
yeah, the word you're looking for is anyway.
I believe we could easily do a 2-hour show on just the memorable, iconic quotes from this one season alone,
Oh
and
yeah.
not touch on anything else.
Well, I wrote down some of my favorites. That wasn't my top 5, but I definitely wrote down. I wrote notes for every single episode, which I realize we're not going to go through episode by episode, but just follow along because there's like I tried to like get all my thoughts together into my overall favorite themes or whatever the show, and I've got that, but it's like every episode just has something you want to mention. So we didn't discuss how we're going to review this, but
Oh yeah,
we'll figure it out anyway.
well no, because even like when I was putting my top 5 together, and we'll get to the top 5s later in the episode, but it's like I came up with the topic that I was. What are you doing? Unlocking the door so Jude can get in?
Yes, because she's whining.
Oh. But so I came up with the idea for the topic, and I did not think it was going to be that hard. And then I started watching all the episodes, and it's like, okay, that person could be in there. That person can be on the list. That person can be on the list. I believe my final total for my long list is 20 people long.
Okay, so you picked a lot of people that only. You picked a lot of people that only showed up on one episode, which is fine.
At this point, though, you also have to think about the fact, too, this is season 1. So there's only a small handful of people that are in multiple episodes, too.
Oh.
Not saying who else, might be on my list, but oh my God. May or may not pop up on my top 5 list at some point. Just saying.
Okay. Well, and I have things to say about that character anyway, so.
I'm pretty sure almost everybody does, because with the exception of, well, there's a small handful of characters that literally are there in season 1 and show up almost every damn season all the way through the whole decade that the show was on TV. And
yeah,
she is one of them.
Yep.
So, I mean, even to the point that I believe her final episode was like 2 or 3 episodes before the end.
I mean, she was in the final season for sure. I couldn't tell you whatever, but
yeah, I know it's somewhere in that final couple episodes, because the new house doesn't pop up until right there at the end.
Yeah.
And that's when she pops up with her, "Oh my God, Chandler needs to have a heart attack again this season." But
Right.
I know we officially have not said it, but I, for those of you who are living under a rock and can't pick up the little clues we're dropping left and right. And by the way, Josh, thank you for the heart on the feed. We appreciate it, and we hope you feel better.
Feel better, Josh, and comment along with us.
So we are here to discuss not season 2 through 9 or 2 through 10. We're going to discuss the very first, the 30-year-old season, original season, that is the iconic TV series Friends.
Woo!
Again, if you have any question in the back of your little mind about why the two of us are discussing this TV show,
Sorry.
then where the hell have you been for the last 4 years? Because it's not like, even when we're talking about movies, more often than not, some kind of Friends reference weasels its way into the discussion
Oh, always.
somehow.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't have a whole lot of background information on the show like we normally have, because it's a TV show and you don't have budgets and box offices and studios
Right.
and all of that. Um, but I do have some information. Uh, Season 1 aired between September 22nd, 1994 and May 18th, 1995. The plan was, if somebody hadn't had a whole shitload of freaking work done on his mouth, that this was going to air on May 18th, on the 30th anniversary. But um, it didn't. But we're here and we're still going to celebrate. The
Yeah.
main director in season 1 was iconic TV director James Burrows. The show aired on NBC, and I do have Rotten Tomato scores for this season, as well as another topic for us to discuss at some point
Okay.
that I already pre-warned you we're going to be discussing. But I've got a tomato meter score, and I've got a popcorn meter score.
Okay.
Would you like to wager a guess as to what you think each is?
Yes. So, hmm. So I didn't start watching Friends until season 3, and then I had to go back and start it from the beginning. So I'm trying to remember, like, I know it was a big deal. I know it was on Thursday nights. Like, I know, but I can't really remember how critically acclaimed it was. I'm gonna put the audience score, the popcorn meter, at like 82%, 85%. And then tomato meter, let's say 73. Dead air.
No, I had spinning wheels of death, and I didn't hear what your tomato meter was.
Oh, tomato meter was 73%.
So the popcorn meter for season 1, on 250 plus reviews, this season got a 90% by the fans.
Woo! I was not generous enough.
You were pretty close with the damn tomato meter, though.
Stop it. Okay.
On 43 reviews, season 1 got a whopping 70%.
Mm. Yeah, I could see that.
And the secondary topic that I pre-warned the Plobster that we're going to be discussing is the review website Collider
Mhm.
ranked all 10 seasons of Friends,
Yeah.
and it gave this season, the OG season of Friends, the number 9 out of 10
Hmm.
ranking for best seasons of the show.
I don't know that I would put it that low. That's pretty low. And
I
Friends
personally, for me,
started.
I don't think it's the greatest season,
No.
but I don't necessarily think it's the second worst season of the damn show either.
Hmm.
But I mean,
Stop.
to me, in my honest to God opinion, hi Pearl,
Get out. Sorry.
you have 10. You have 10 seasons ranked 1 through 10, and even I don't know which one came in 10th place, but the 10th place season is not a bad season at all. I can
Oh yeah, for
guarantee
sure.
you. In my opinion, there's not a bad season of the show.
No, I don't think so either.
Others might disagree with me.
Well, others can be wrong.
So
That's their prerogative.
everybody's talking all this crap about them.
Exactly.
Why won't they just let them live? So, would you care to wager a attempt to explain to the audience what season 1 of the show is all about?
Sure. Oh, wait, you mean just season 1, not like okay. I was just gonna do a brief overview of what the show's about, but then I realized that's the whole series. I mean, I guess it would still work. It's about 6 friends in New York City navigating love, life, careers, all that shit, trying to figure out their lives in their 20s and 30s. Yeah, that's it.
I
Sorry.
felt kind of safe in asking if you wanted to do that, just for the pure fact that you can go as generic as you want with the description and basically cover everything, because that's the gist of the show. Is it's 6 people living in New York City, quote unquote, coming of age.
Yeah. And I mean, season 1 is definitely you're being introduced to the characters, you're getting how they're connected to each other, some of their past, and you can definitely tell as the season goes on that the actors are like kind of starting to get into a groove because I feel like Ross at the first couple of episodes is way different than like mid-season and later season Ross. And it's just they're trying to figure out like episode 1, not gonna lie, Ross was giving George Costanza. And I was like, if his character had stayed like that the entire time, I would have not watched.
Well, it would have been a long 10 seasons.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
If
obviously,
his
it's about.
character, it's like that. Well, I was just gonna say, if his character had stayed that way, I think it would have been fairly difficult for the fans to get on board and get behind the whole him and Rachel storyline.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he had to become a little more
Which,
lovable.
yeah, and right, wrong, or indifferent, if you take the Ross and Rachel storyline out of the show, it definitely changes the feeling of the show. because in a lot of ways, even when they're not together, you still have that comic headbutting of we were on a break, um, 3 divorces, or whatever the case. I mean, even up until the last moments of the final episode, the we were on a break joke still gets dropped like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a running theme. It came up in the final
So,
episode.
you said you, yeah, literally, like right in that final moment where I got off the plane. This is it. We're together. No, 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 no. But you know, unless we're on a break, and then the whole don't make jokes and kissy, kissy, kissy. Go across the street and you want to go have coffee? Yeah, where? Spoiler
Yep.
alert for those of you who haven't watched the show in 30 years. But yeah, in the final episode, they get coffee. So
How original.
you said true. You came into the show in what, season 3?
Yeah.
Ironically, that was when somebody else first started consistently watching the
Nice.
show. I even remember what episode it was too.
I don't remember what
It
episode.
was the season finale. I mean, I knew the whole. I read like the news articles and pop culture references and all of that going through the bit, like the Ross and Rachel. We were on a break. All of that built up to that point, but I didn't finally sit down and actually legitimately watch an episode until the season finale, and then you get the whole cliffhanger with him picking between Rachel and Phoebe's friend and
Bonnie.
standing in the hallway and looking across, at which door am I going to open, and then him choosing a door, opening it, and just, hi, and then blackout and wait till September to find out
Yeah.
who's in the room.
Very
Go
true.
figure. But but the positive though is I did find the show and I did fall in love with the show, and that's the important part.
Yeah, for
Because
real.
there's so much greatness about the show that it's hard not to be in love with the show.
Yeah. Totally
So,
agree.
what were some of the memorable moments that you found while rewatching season 1?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's so much good, there's like a lot of really good comedic moments, but the show really has a lot of heart, like especially as the season goes on. So there's a lot of moments that were like, well, I mean, even in the first episode when Ross, talks about maybe asking out Rachel and Monica's like, "What's with you?" And he's like, "I'm grabbing a spoon." Like you immediately kind of get you know, these characters they're funny, but they're going to go through some shit and they're going to have these, different like self crises and what should I do and things like that. I don't know. But so some of those moments like the grabbing a spoon and
Psychological
like
back and forth.
yeah, and like, Ross finally feeling like he knows he's going to be a dad and Joey helping that strange girl go through labor. Like I really liked a lot of those scenes where they had a lot of heart, and you could see like that what they were like deep down. Um, Monica and the one with the fake Monica, and how she's just so, you know, this woman's living the life I wish I could live, and she's living vicariously through the woman who stole her identity. It's just, I mean, chef's kiss. Mwah. Like, that's amazing writing. But to see her little, like, crisis of, self, like, oh, do I have to be like this? And I wish I could be like her, and blah blah blah. So I don't know. I mean, I like a lot of the funny moments too. I mean, there's some, crazy shit that happens, but I think the stuff that has like more feeling and kind of more depth is the stuff that really made me go, oh. I mean, the one where Ben is born, I cry. It's just so sweet. I can't hear you. Did I talk too long? Does it automatically shut off if you don't talk fast or whatever?
I have no idea what the problem is, but it's annoying as hell. Um, like I said when I texted you the other day while I was watching that particular episode, um, being the one with the burr, um, after hits a lot different than what it did the first 50 times I watched the episode. Like being an uncle, you can fully appreciate the emotion and the feeling that Monica's going through at the time. Yes,
Yeah.
she's 26 years old, doesn't have kids. Her mom's riding her ass about when the hell are you gonna make me a grandparent, and blah 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 blah. But then she has that moment where she gets to hold her nephew for the first time, and she introduces herself as Aunt Monica, and I will always have gum.
Yeah. Ugh. And even Chandler, like, offering to, have a backup with Monica and just be like, "Oh, I'll have one with you." And then, oh, he did something else really sweet in that episode too. That had to do with Monica. And it's crazy because even now watching season 1, knowing what I know, I still never would have put that together. The Chandler and Monica being together. I mean, they give you Ross and Rachel in the first episode because it's a
Yeah,
cliche sitcom thing you have to give to us. But Chandler and Monica, that was a shocker. My eyes, my eyes. Okay, sorry.
and it's one that you don't get a payoff for until season 5, I think.
It happens in end of season 4, I guess. So yeah, season 5. Because season 4 is when he marries Emily, right? Or is it
Oh yeah,
5?
because they come back.
That's 4.
Yeah, because yeah, no, it's 4 because they come back from London and Phoebe gives birth to the twin or the triplets in the 100th
The
episode,
100th. Yeah.
which ha- happens to be, you know, mathematically
Well,
24, 24, 24, 24, 4 episodes into season 5.
so yeah, anyway, and it was good that they waited that long to introduce that
So,
because early Chandler wasn't I don't think Chandler hadn't had enough of a character development to realize, I mean, when Janice is getting a divorce, that's really the first time we see where he's like, "Oh, he could really commit to somebody," but even then, I still didn't really think so. Then you get Kathy, and it's like, okay,
mhm.
Chandler does want to be committed. He just has to meet the right person, which, let's face it, we all thought was going to be Kathy, right? But again, too early in the series to settle anyone down, except for, Ross and Rachel or Chandler and Monica.
Well, I I think it's definitely way too early to let anything more than Ross and Rachel be revealed. Like, okay, if you reveal everybody's happiness in season 1 or season 2, then what do you have for storylines the rest of the way?
Yeah, and I don't think it would have worked if they had had 2 different sets of the friends be in a relationship and break up, like, because it's already far-fetched to believe that they all still hung out together that much after that breakup, like, there are certain things about this show, obviously, that aren't real life, and that's definitely one of them. Is like, no, it just doesn't work that way. So, if they had made, that much more of the group like that, it wouldn't have worked. Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hi,
Sorry, George.
Gage.
George's bringing me snacks. But it also because the Chandler and Monica thing wasn't planned, I think it made it easier to not be able to even see it coming because it's not like they planned that from the beginning, it was supposed to be a one-time thing and the fans liked it so much that they kept it going. And thank God they did. Everything okay over there? All right, Casey's muted. You might be having technical issues.
I
think
100% agree with you about the whole calling audibles and bringing surprises to the table because obviously you're not going to know 100% as soon as you film the first episode everything that's going to pop up and how the fans are going to react to this thing and that thing and I mean, one of the more controversial plot twists of the entire series was the whole putting Joey and Rachel together
ugh,
for
yeah.
the the brief moment that they did. And I mean, even what, 9 seasons into the show, you
Yeah.
know, they still should have known by that point that
That people didn't like it.
yeah, it would have been cute and funny, but it wasn't going to freaking work. And everybody knew at that point there was no chance in hell that those two were going to be the ones that rode off into the sunset together.
Right. Their friendship was too good. Like, it's funny that they said that. Like, maybe we're just too close of friends. And I'm like, that's exactly what it is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they find each other attractive, but at the end of the day, they're just like peas in a pod. Like, they're like besties.
No, I 100%. I honestly, if there was anybody in that circle of friends that Joey was going to end up with or had a shot at being with, it probably would have been Monica. As far as Rachel and Phoebe go, there was no chance that he ended up with either of the two of them.
Yeah. I mean, the him and Rachel thing, I liked it when he was in love with her because I really liked the character depth that they brought to Joey. But other than that, and the fact that he was there for her in such really like hard times, but it's just they wouldn't work long term. And then I think the same with him and Phoebe. Phoebe cares about him so much that she would like lie to him, like to spare his feelings, and that would be not a great
Mhm.
marriage.
No, well, I mean,
I mean,
even
sometimes you have to, but
yeah, I mean, it gets brought up later in the series when they have their moment where Phoebe and Joey are supposed to go off and do something together, and he ends up blowing her off because he had a chance of having sex,
right.
and she gets pissed off over it. Well, yeah,
Like girlfriends come
I
and
forget.
go, but this is forever.
Yeah, and you know there there's some truth to the point. but at the same time, it's still like I get both sides of the equation, and Joey is one of those characters that definitely grew up and changed a lot between season one and then the final episode,
I don't know though. I mean,
but didn't necessarily change though either. He's still the essence of Joey is still there.
I feel like all of these characters had really great character arcs. I would say Phoebe and probably Ross had the least, in my opinion, but like, yeah, Joey and Chandler and Rachel and even Monica like had just like this really great character development.
Hmm.
So it's kind of hard to pick just one, but a lot of it's maturity too, you know. In your 20s, Joey is that kind of guy you expect if you meet him on the street in New York, you know, like, "How you doing?" Well, first of all, officially, I would laugh my ass off if you ever said that to me. But, you know, he
Well, I mean,
definitely he fit the
I've seen.
mold for the character.
Oh yeah, he did absolutely, and I still go back to the um, talk show where I've seen him and Amelia Clark sitting there on the couch next to each other, and her big wish was she wanted him to ask how she was doing, and he, you know, gives into the wish and asks her how she's doing, and she giggles like a little schoolgirl because that's like
Yeah.
an iconic moment for a hardcore fan.
Well, yeah, that's different. Okay, so we need to bring it back to season 1. Kinda went off on some crazy
Yeah, because
tangents.
we're still kind of all over the place. Um,
So let's start with the first episode. Like, we don't need to talk about every episode, but I have the timeline kind of written down, so maybe we can just touch on a few things. But what do you think
oh,
about
go
the
ahead.
opening? Because that could have been really bad. I don't think it was. It felt very Seinfeldy, like, you know, just trying to drop you in the middle of a conversation. But um, I don't know. What did you think about it?
I can see why you might say it felt very Seinfeldy,
Mhm.
um, but at the same time, it's like I don't think having that specific actual starting point to the story. I think it's kind of you
Oops,
know
sorry.
cool to just you know start the show and all of a sudden you've got you as the audience gets dropped right into the middle of this conversation where I mean, thank God it wasn't like an important conversation that you're getting dropped into the middle of, but
No,
you
he's
know,
literally talking about his dream of his penis being a phone. I
yeah,
look down and there's a phone there.
there,
Uh,
but it also in a lot of ways helps to introduce the neurotic mindset that is Chandler Bing as well.
yeah, totally. And it was my mother, and I was like, "This is weird. She never calls me." Like, it's just the most random conversation to get dropped into, but it does immediately set you up for the drama that they're going to introduce in the first 3 minutes, which is Rachel. Do you want to tell us now,
But
or are
yeah,
we waiting for Seven Wet Bridesmaids?
well, and that whole conversation. I mean, that quote unquote dream conversation sets up and basically introduces everybody to the traumatizing relationship that Chandler has with, his parents. You don't necessarily get the dad thing just yet,
Right.
but you know, you get a little hint of the dynamic between him and Nora Bing.
Yeah. She never calls me. And definitely they set him up immediately, not just with that conversation, but then the next thing, like when Rachel comes in and Ross is
Mhm.
like, I just want to be married again. And he's just like, and I just
I
want $1 million.
want $1 million.
Like they immediately let you know he's the funny guy.
Oh yeah, and that's
Oh, good.
one of my favorite parts of this whole show, though, is the fact that there is growth and development for every all six of them throughout the entire show. Some less than others, like we said, but they clearly set up a dynamic character dynamic for each and every one of them, and the essence of these characters stayed the same for 10 years.
Well, right. Because people change, but they don't.
Yeah,
So I think it's good that they have, what's mostly just maturity and life experience helps them grow. It's not like they become completely different people.
yeah, exactly. So, but no, yeah, to get back to the whole, I love the way that the show started, and it's not like it drug on forever and ever and ever before everything got going too.
Right.
It was just a brief little moment in time, and then all of a sudden, a soaking wet chick in a wedding dress comes running through the door looking for Monica.
You're the only one I knew who lives in the city that wasn't invited to the wedding. Like, oh, I
Well,
was hoping that wouldn't
I,
be an issue.
yeah, go figure. So
Um, no, I feel they gave us a lot of information in the first episode, but it still flowed really well. The whole Paul the wine guy thing was funny, and but they're giving you, it really is hard out here for a pimp. When you're out here dating in New York City of all places, it's tough. Um,
yeah, I mean,
so you get
for
that.
lack of a better metaphor, you've got a buffet in front of you. You know, quote unquote, what do you want to eat? You can have some of
Right.
this guy, or you can have some of that guy, or this chick, or that chick, or whatever. And not saying it's acceptable to view people in that fashion, but especially in your 20s, unfortunately, that's how people get looked at.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you got Ross going through the divorce, and the divorce storyline there I really like because that kind of goes back to I can never imagine Ross and Carol being married because I can't imagine them all hanging out like that. Like the one thing they did to this show that made it tough for I think the romantic storylines was that you can't bring in outsiders. Like there's such a tight knit, as Roger says, codependent, dysfunctional group dynamic. I wouldn't go that far, but they definitely made this group of six, which is a big ensemble anyway. Like, let's be honest. You can't bring in an outside person and drop them in and expect everything to still be the way that it was. I mean, clearly, with Emily, we knew that probably wasn't going to work out because, first of all, she was a monster. But like,
Yeah.
I like that they did the lesbian storyline because it's something funny we hadn't seen before, but also it kind of kept Carol and Ben in the show and even Susan a little bit. It just like kept around some
Yeah.
extra side characters, but wasn't part of the core six.
Well, and the way I look at it too is like what you were saying, that ensemble was already huge as it is. But
Right.
if you look at like one of the other more successful shows from that era that aired also on Thursday night, being Seinfeld,
Right.
that core group was what, four people?
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, you can do ensemble like Cheers was an anomaly. I don't care what you said. Rest in
Yeah.
peace, George Wendt.
Big
But
Bang Theory did a good I think that's the only show I can think of where they really brought in a couple of outsiders and made them fit into the group. But of course, they had to make them all love interests or it wouldn't have made as much sense. So they pulled that off. That was a risk, and luckily they pulled it off. But I don't think that would have worked on Friends, which is what you had statistically. You would have to think that two of them did end up together, at least in the middle of the show, because otherwise, yeah, there's shit about the show that isn't believable. But believing that 6 people in their early 30s are all not married, that's not going to fly. Like, it's just not. So, but yeah, that worked out for the Monica and Chandler thing, which we keep going off season 1. But
yeah,
oh, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say I 100% agree. It's weird to think about it that way, but you know, friendships tend to not necessarily last like that. And I know that's one of the points that they brought up when you ask all 6 about, well, would you do a reunion episode? And they've all pretty much shot it down like,
Yeah.
would it really work at the end of the day?
Right. And, them making Ross and Rachel have a baby, I thought was a risk too, because of course it was even worse than Ben, where we hardly ever saw that kid, which was, unrealistic as well, because we
Yeah.
never really got a good sense of their nanny. So, because like what obviously they decided on a nanny and that person just wasn't really part of the show anymore, but like, that's still technically
It
bringing
wasn't
that
Manny.
equation.
It wasn't Freddie Prinze Jr., that's for sure.
So, I want to talk about episode 2 just for a second because it's going to segue me into the question of what about this season did you not like? And man, I really wish some of the people we know were listening right now because I know they think I'm like such a huge feminist and I hate men. No, I wanted to stick my arm through the TV and punch Susan in the face in episode 2. Like, we want you to be involved, and oh, it's getting my last name, and oh, we already decided on this. You two just started dating, and that's Ross's baby. The way that they tried to oh god, that
Yeah.
episode made me so mad. Like, Susan, yeah, you get to be involved, you get to be a mom, whatever, but you don't get to call the shots. You don't get to decide what the baby's first and last name are going to be. Like that, I was really
Sperm guy.
I was really prepared to hate Carol and Susan, and then when they started showing back up with the baby and it became more this cute, like, you know, blended family dynamic. But at first I was like, please tell me these people go away, but then they don't because there's a baby, and making Ross not be a father would have ruined his character. Like,
Yeah.
Ross, because Ross wouldn't do that. He wouldn't walk out on his kid. But like, oh, I wanted to be like, bitch, who the hell do you think you are?
No,
And
if
I
that had been
wasn't
Joey, that's
yeah, wow.
if it had been Joey that had a kid in season 1, I could have seen Joey walking away from the kid at some point.
At that stage, yes.
But at the same time,
no. Oh, sorry.
But yeah, as you get towards even like the whole dynamic of Rachel giving birth to Emma slash Phoebe, and Joey's not with Rachel, and obviously Emma's not his daughter, but he gets to be an active part of her life, and even though he doesn't share grapes with her and doesn't share Hugsy, his
bedtime penguin pal,
penguin pal with her, he still has active involvement in her life. You
Right.
know,
So early Susan is someone I
no,
really,
I would probably agree with you that the whole Carol and Susan dynamic was probably my least favorite part of season one.
yeah, it was Susan was too much. I mean, I'm but Wilson, when we got to the one, I can't remember which one it's called, but the one where they go to the childbirth class and Carol's not there, and, and he's just like, "Get down there," and she's like, "You get down there." Like, why do I have to get down there? He's like, "I'm gonna play the sperm card one more time," and I'm like, she's like, "I don't feel like I should have to miss out on the coaching because I'm a woman," and I was like, "That's true. Like, there should be a way where they could both," and I'd be like, "Just switch it off halfway through," but like they should both get the
Yeah.
experience because they're gonna need it.
Okay, but
But
she can make that argument about why should she miss out on the coaching experience because she's a woman. Okay, but why should Ross have to miss out on the coaching experience
yeah,
because his ex-wife isn't there?
well,
You know,
agreed. But I think they're both thinking that way. Yeah, and it's
equal
true. That's what I'm saying.
opportunity rights going on here. I mean, they both deserve to get learning experiences so that they can be there for Carol during the labor,
And then they aren't even
like they
there.
both should be there for her. And
Yeah,
they showed up like 5 seconds. I mean, Ben was like halfway out
I was gonna say
and
Ben was at least halfway
just
out.
for him to come running into the room. You
Okay,
know,
so besides early Susan, for me anyway, but I don't know for you, but I'm guessing because that second episode made me want to throw shit. Were there any other characters or storylines or just things in general about season one that you really didn't like? I have a couple more, but I was going to let you go.
I would say probably the only other real thing that I can put my finger on for, not being able to get on board with character wise for season one is the fact that coming into the equation when we came into it, I mean, obviously, it hadn't gone into syndication yet. And this is this is before, you know, entire seasons of TV shows were released on VHS or DVD,
Right.
So the coming Griffey, Griffey's waving at you.
Hi, Griffey.
Um, but so it was probably another good season or 2 seasons after before I finally got to go back and watch the original couple seasons of the show. So long story short, too late.
Too late.
Um, the development, the development of um, Jack and Judy into the characters that they would become. I was already well into that development, and then to go back and see how they were in the beginning, they felt a lot different in the beginning of season one. The first few times that Christina Pickles and Elliot Gould showed up, to me
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. I love him telling
Like
Monica, I'm going to be
legitimately.
very.
Well, and you go back and look at like that conversation that Ross is having with his dad at the restaurant when Jack has his moment about I wish I'd gotten into the, sun-dried tomato, business. I mean, that's still kind of a quirky little Jackism, but it would have been a lot more over the top had it been they had that conversation 4 or 5 seasons down the road. Like, legitimately, I feel like introducing Richard into the equation in season 2 was really the point where the writers took the handcuffs off of Elliot Gould and let him go hard right into, you know, right field and become the character that he was going to become and start to become. Because, like, you get to the whole anniversary episode where, you know, Monica and Richard are hemming and hawing over the revelation of everybody finding out that they're together.
Yeah.
And Monica's the Twinkie and, you know, all of that. But going back and actually watching it all in a row, that I feel like the Richard aspect of the story is really where, especially Jack, got to become the kooky father that everybody knows and loves. And it was probably season 2 as well, where Judy definitely goes off. I mean, you can tell in season 1 that Monica is all over the place, but I feel like it becomes very crystal clear in season 2 exactly how fucked up their relationship really is.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay, so you're saying,
Yeah.
okay, I was asking like what you didn't like. So you're saying
Spoiler
early
alert for next Friends tribute.
this internet delay is
Early
really,
Jack and
really
Judy
bad.
probably would be the other thing. I
Okay.
know. I rabbit hole. Whoop.
Um,
Was there anything else that you didn't particularly care for?
I mean, other than, the way Susan was, I hated Paolo. And I know we're supposed to hate him, but I just don't feel like that actor was attractive enough to be getting all the attention, and like he was creepy to me the entire time. The Italian hand licker. Like, who does that? Who sits at a table at a restaurant like starts
Yeah.
licking someone's hand? Like, gross.
I mean,
But other than
like
that,
you
no.
said, I get the essence of, we're supposed to hate Paolo,
Right.
but I guess in a way I can see where you're coming from, where the actor per se may not have been as slick and smooth and charming as the character should have been.
He wasn't cute enough to be that dumb. That's all I'm saying.
Do you speak English? See, a little.
You are a huge crap weasel.
Have you heard the word crap weasel? You are a huge crap weasel.
Um,
Again, there's so many freaking quotes in this season that it's amazing, legitimately, how quotable this season is.
very. I mean, I say I wish I could, but I don't want to all the time. It's from the first episode. Like, and so is the anyway
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Anyway.
One of the things that I loved about season 1, and then I would say by the time we got to season 4, they had pretty much stopped doing this, but it bummed me out because they did the best, like, double entendre conversations and situations in the first couple of seasons. Like, okay, well, this is season I'm trying to think of which one from season 1, but, like, where they're talking about one thing, but really they're talking about something else. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I wrote some down, and now all I can think of is season 2 because I was just watching, but, like when Monica and Julie are hanging out behind Rachel's back and they're talking about friend stuff, but it sounds like they're talking about, like, a cheating marriage, just they had so
Mm-hmm.
much, like, or like another season, but when Joey and Chandler are fighting over the chick and the duck, and they're like, well, who got up with him from this time? And you don't think I get up when you get up? Like, they sound like parents fighting over a toddler. And I loved how clever this show is or was with that. But they quit doing it after a while. Maybe they just couldn't come up with anything else. I don't know.
Well, literally, that was the whole dynamic of Joey and Chandler's relationship. Like they had that
Yeah.
moment where they argued like old married parents.
Yeah.
And who would have thought Joey would have been, that parent that was going off to work and, you know, trying to provide a roof over his children's head. And Chandler was the one that, you know, stayed at home and raised the kids and, you know, got up when,
Yeah.
the chick got sick or, whatever. And it just made for hilarious moments. And no, I get what you're saying about the double entendre innuendo dynamic of the dialogue they wrote on the show.
Yeah, that was the thing they did for a while that I really liked and thought it was pretty witty.
I don't think there was a lot of shows that were doing that per se at the time.
Yeah. And How I Met Your Mother took that and ran with it. They did it a lot.
Oh yeah, you know, obviously after Friends, because Friends was done and over with by the time How I Met Your Mother stepped out and went running. But you know, people could say like Married with Children and all of that, but they went more with the edgy innuendo where shows like Friends was a little bit more, I guess, for lack of a better term, intelligent about it.
Yeah.
Where Married with Children just straight up went into the gutter
Yeah, I mean,
every
Married with
chance they
Children
could get.
always went for the obvious joke. That's 80s comedies. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I get that. Um, okay. Well, oh, sorry. Some really for a first season of a show, some really good guest stars. I mean, you already said Christina Pickles and Elliot Gould, but you know, Morgan Fairchild and John Lovitz and who else was in season 1?
Considering, uh, well,
I had some
so
in my head and
let
my
me
mind
pull
just
up
went
my.
blank.
Hold on, I'm pulling up my long list. But
Oh, Helen
like the
Hunt
other
and
point, like, oh
the other
yeah,
girl from that show.
uh,
Yeah. Noah
let's
Wiley and
see.
George Clooney. That's where I was going. That's what I was forgetting. Noah Wiley and George Clooney. That
Hey,
episode's amazing.
Hank Azaria, Morgan Fairchild, John Lovitz, Christina Pickles, uh, Elliot Gould, Fisher Stevens, uh, Noah Wiley, and George Clooney. And then
Right.
along that same line, though, too, I know I brought it up as well because we briefly discussed it in our chat. Um, but music wise, they for a season one of season one of an unknown show that, if I remember correctly, it wasn't necessarily a top 10 show in season one.
I can't remember.
To be able to get music from REM, music from Madonna, you know
Yeah.
some of the other music, they definitely hit the jackpot when it comes to
Yeah,
music
they
and
did
guest
get some good
stars.
music.
It only continues to get better and better as the show goes along too, because you've got season 3, um they get U2 music and
That's
all of that.
season
It's
2,
like,
but yeah.
who do
With or Without You is in
either
season
way.
2.
um
Yeah.
who is not, they break up in season 3 because they're
What?
still together at the end of season 2. There's
The
season 2,
you
the cliffhanger is Barry and Mindy's wedding.
Yeah.
The We Were on a Break is in season 3.
And With or Without You premieres on the show before they even get together. It's when he writes the list. So they're about to get together, and then he writes the list, and then he calls the radio station to dedicate that song to her. Is it all coming back to you now?
Oh yeah, never mind. Okay,
What
so
happened
go
last
on.
time you tried to challenge
But
my friend's knowledge?
whatever. We're not going down that road. It's why your husband's not on the show this week. Thank you very much.
I invited him. He didn't want to do it. I didn't give him enough time to research. And I was literally just going to give him the book.
Besides that, doesn't he have a basketball game to prepare for?
That game's not on for like 2.5 hours. Okay. So, should we do our top fives?
It would be like right there. Ladies first.
Okay. I had a few different ones, but honestly, I'm just going to rank my top 5 favorite episodes of the season, and that way I can just touch real quick on a few things we didn't really talk about. So probably my 6th honorable mention is the one with the blackout. So that would be my number 6. If I got to have a number 6, that's where we first get Paolo, we get Mr. Heckles. They're singing this song while Ross is getting attacked by that cat. Like it's just, yeah, Chandler in the ATM vestibule, and just like that's probably like the first episode that I got really like excited about, that I thought was like really, I mean, they were all good, but I liked the one with George Stephanopoulos because I really liked the girls like bonding, but like I feel like the blackout one is really where it all just kind of like, they're all so cute.
Well, and
Okay.
they're not all necessarily in the same environment together, vibing off of each other as well. They're all, well,
In and out of the room and, blah, blah, blah.
or trapped in an ATM vestibule with Jill Goodacre.
And then Joey's like, and Chandler's like, yeah, like I didn't think of that already. Okay, so my number 5 is no, this was hard to put at number 5, but the one with the stoned guy, John Lovitz and that whole scene with him being high is just so. One of my roommates in college, like right after college, the guy she was dating was obsessed with Friends too, and we would always just go around saying tartlet, tartlet, tartlet. The word is lost on
Bartlett,
me. We didn't really talk
macaroni
about
and
that.
cheese. We have to make this.
We have to make this. Give me the gummy bears. No. Is it dry in here? And even not just John Lovitz, but you get the whole like the little quips with Chandler, like, oh, I had a grape earlier, so I better split this with you. It's like it's an amuse bouche. Well, it is amusing. um so yeah, I love that episode so much. I mean, John Lovitz is just bear overboard. Here, grab onto a Sugar-O. um taco shells, these are like mini corn envelopes. Oh, so funny. Okay. Number 4 is the one with the East German laundry detergent. That's a long one to say. The whole laundromat scene with Ross
Uber
and Rach.
rice.
Yeah, Uber rice. You can't take over the stuff with the bears on it. But the whole laundromat thing, and then also the whole Monica and Joey breaking up that couple. It's like having cocktails in Appalachia. Oh, and Chandler and Phoebe dumping people together. Like that whole episode was really fun too.
Yeah,
No
because
suds, no
you're
save.
really getting into the whole fucked up dynamic between him and Janice as well.
Yeah. And then Phoebe breaks up with her in like 10 seconds. And yeah, that whole again, another like I guess it's not really a double entendre because we know what's happening, but Monica doesn't. But the stuff they're talking about and like, it's like, oh, wait, they're a couple, but I think they're brother and sister. Like this is super fucking creepy. That was really funny.
Yeah.
We ripped that couple apart and kept the pieces for ourselves. I lost my. Okay. Number 3, the one with all the poker. Just a really fun episode and definitely getting more into like the passionate side of Ross and Rachel. And he's a sucker, but when he lets her win, or at least we don't know for sure that's what happened, but we pretty much know for sure that's what happened. And he's like, look how happy she is. Ross does become a little bit of a creeper at certain points, but he was always like so sweet with thinking about her feelings. Well, not always. Not always. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2 and number
Not
1.
when they were on a break.
I will argue that on a break, I will even admit that they were on a break. If that makes people feel better, I'll concede that they were actually on a break and not just in the middle of a fight saying, maybe we should take a break. Let's just say they were on a break. He went and slept with somebody else in less than 12 hours. Yeah, dude, go fuck yourself. It might not be cheating, but in the words of Olivia Rodrigo, you didn't. Oh, I can't remember exactly what she said. You didn't cheat on me, but you're still a traitor. Fucking less than 12
Oh, I
hours.
agree. There's definitely two sides to the equation on that whole topic, and it will be one that we discuss in a couple friends tributes down the road.
You want to debate it?
No.
No, I didn't think you did, but that would be fun. That would be a good debate for us to debate. Were they on a break? Were they not on a break? And then see what the people think. I think most people say they were on a break, but the fact that you can
Intelligent people would
argue
say they
either
were on a break.
side means they weren't on a break. That's my whole defense. If you can't say for certain that they were broken up / on a break, then they weren't on a break. Potato, potato. Okay. Um, number two, the one where Rachel finds out, which is we know the season finale, and you get the big cliffhanger. Well, you think you're getting a cliffhanger, then you see Ross get off the plane with Julie. When he kissed her, I screamed. I was so mad. Um, but I really
Again, one of
you
those moments that you thought you were going to get the payoff then, but oh no, we're going to prick tease you for
yeah.
a few more months before we finally give it to you.
And that kick you in the crotch, spit on your neck, fantastic. um, this is an episode, and my number one is my other episode talking about this, but even in the beginning, and even though Joey is like a man whore, kind of acts like a dick, you still get in season one a few moments where you know he's actually a really sweet guy. And like um in this one, at first Monica's like, "Have you ever thought about just like being there for her?" And he's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." But then he's like, "Oh, wow, this was amazing." And like talking about, just being there for his girlfriend sexually, and because he couldn't have sex because of the medical study or whatever. But regardless, you kind of see how Joey's going to be a little sweet. And of course, Rachel finding out about Ross, that whole scene is amazing. So,
Don't just gloss over the fact, though, too, that once Joey got his eyesight back,
oh, I know.
he's not going to keep walking around a room like this, feeling
from the guy
around in the dark.
from the guy we got in the first episode to him, I'll take that little bit of like, um because in the beginning he's so like, I love that's a thing they talk about throughout the show in the beginning too, is how hard it is to be dating in your 20s, probably in a city like New York. Like right when she's like, "Oh, he said we should do it again sometime," and they're all like, "Oh," and Rachel's like, "What?" Like that means he never wants to see you again. And she's like, "You guys just know this." And it's like, yeah, when they say
Yeah.
I'm seeing other people, it means he already is. And I was getting to this. Joey says, if I'm going out with a girl, I have to know I'm seeing more people than she is. So he's a man baby. Like, let's be honest. So, but he grows a little. Number one, the one with the birth. That's the episode that brought me the most emotion the whole season because it was very layered. I mean, I think with Monica and her feelings about not, because in the 90s, in your 20s, and you're not married or not even in a serious relationship, people still looked at us like we were insane. And by us, I mean women. So her going through that little
I still
struggle,
look at you
and
like you're insane.
oh, that's because I am. But I got a blank space, baby, and I'll write your name. Anyway, the whole episode is just so emotional, and you get Ross and Susan kind of coming to an understanding. The part where Phoebe's talking about how lucky the baby is because he has all these people fighting about who gets to love him the most. Like that whole episode is just really emotional and sweet, and I really liked it. So, and Joey helping the random girl that he just met go through labor, and then he comes back with the balloons and like does the right thing and walks away. Like, come on, that's the Joey we come to love. So,
Yeah. Okay, so my turn.
yes.
I have a list that has the best secondary characters from season one. By saying that, obviously, I'm not going with the original six because,
Right.
I mean, you could that completely fills out the top five and then leaves somebody left over, which is not fair to these six people because all six of them are fucking amazing. But so basically, I guess the short way of putting it would be top 5 guest stars of the show or the season. But like I said earlier, I had a long list of probably 20 different characters that I think had some kind of significant impact on the story throughout that showed up. Um, 1, 2, 3. I got 4 honorable mentions.
Okay.
My first one being Fake Monica. Fake Monica. Number 2 honorable mention Ursula.
Mm, that
Even though
bitch.
she's not regularly showing up, she definitely plays a key part in her and Phoebe's relationship. Definitely helps to create the dynamic of Phoebe being who she is.
Yeah, and the
Uh,
Mad About You
let's
crossover
see.
really helped that too.
Yes, considering Earth was actually a character on Mad About You before Phoebe was.
Right.
But honorable mention number 3, Joey Senior, otherwise known as Mr. Tribbiani.
Quick, Chandler, say something funny.
Phoebe, are you still dating the puppet guy? 0 for
Who's
3.
Ross? How's the wife?
Um, yeah, it is very easy to tell what cloth Joey is cut from when you look at his dad. And unfortunately, it's the only time in 10 seasons that you get to see anything. No, no, because I his mom only shows up, I think, in one episode too, if I'm correct. I don't think she was,
Yeah, I don't think we ever see his parents again.
and even then, even like his sisters, you get one that pops up, one that pops up. You know,
Right.
you don't ever get consistently. They show up semi regularly throughout the show. So, uh, my number 5, everybody's favorite Phoebe boyfriend, David, the science guy.
Mike's my favorite, but David's amazing.
I said Phoebe boyfriend, not Phoebe husband.
Fine.
Technicality, schmecticality. Um, Number 4, Nora Bing.
Very nice. She's always been a
I know
Freudian
you might
nightmare.
have literally. Um, you may have an issue with her being behind the person who I have at number 3, but as much as we don't necessarily like the actor portrayal, I'm more referring to the character being Paolo is significant to the
Yeah,
development of the Ross and Rachel dynamic.
for
So
sure.
I've got Paolo at number 3.
Okay.
My mystery entry at number 2
Or not
that I
mystery.
tried to pull, the wool over Amanda's eyes on this one, but evidently she shares a brain with me and figured it out in a heartbeat. But Marcel the monkey
Woo!
is one of the greatest characters on the entire freaking series.
I'm gonna
And
pay for
then
that later tonight.
and then number one, you can't. Janice is Janice. You can't not
Yeah,
have Janice somewhere in your top five. And the fact that she literally comes back, she's probably the most returned character throughout the entire series of the show
I
than
was
anybody
trying to find
else,
a list of that and I
except
couldn't, and I know
maybe
it exists,
Jack and
but
Judy. Oh, I'm sure it does, but I feel like the top three most returned guests on that show would be Elliot Gould, Christina Pickles, and Maggie Wheeler. Jack,
on Tom
Judy, and
Selleck,
Janice. The
yeah,
three J's.
nice.
So that was my top five. Would you like to give your overall review for season one?
I mean, going back and rewatching it, it still makes me laugh. Some parts make me laugh more. You know, I think most of it has aged well. There's, a few jokes here and there that I'm like, ooh, but for the most part, if they made like a risque joke, it's because they were like not making fun of the thing the joke's about, but like making fun of something else that it's adjacent to. I don't know if that makes sense. I can't think of a specific, but whatever. I mean, I'm I'm obviously not unbiased here. So, I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5
No.
tartlet.
So tartlets. Um, so I agree with you 100%. I think this season is funny. It's got its emotional moments. You know, it's an all-around great show. Um, there's something for everybody to find and love in this season. Uh, at some points from beginning to end, it's just you go on an emotional roller coaster, and the more you get involved in watching the show as it continues into season two, three, four, all of that, the further down the rabbit hole you go, and it just makes you fall that much more in love with the greatness that is this TV show. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
go 5 out of 5. Al Pacino's butts.
nice. Good one.
So um, before we wrap up the show, though, I do want to say that October 28th, 2023, almost 2 years ago, um,
Dude,
a horrible, a horrible moment happened where we all, especially us hardcore fans, lost our friend Matthew Perry. Um,
yep.
I can honestly say probably not a day goes by that I won't speak for others, but um, in some way, shape, or form, even if it's briefly, he pops into my head on a semi-regular basis. He is amazing. He is great. Dare I say, he is iconic, which is
Very.
why we wanted to take this opportunity to induct Matthew Perry as an Evening at the Movies icon. as we pay tribute and honor the 30th anniversary of season 1 of Friends. So it sucks that
Yep.
it had to happen this way, but it's very deserving.
Yeah. Very true.
So before we wrap, we have to thank the Unpopped Kernels for being here each and every week. You guys are incredible. You guys are awesome. You guys even showed up big time last week on an episode that I did not even think was going to draw the numbers that it drew. I'm not I'm not judging at all,
Oh, I
but
am.
Excalibur did exponentially a lot bigger number than I thought it was going to do. So, thank you guys for being here each and every week. You guys are incredible, amazing. You all are iconic as well. Um, coming up on An Evening at the Movies, we have um, CJ's birthday episode where we will be talking The Last Dragon. We have Josh's birthday episode coming up, and I don't remember which movie he picked, but I will get back to you guys on that one. Um, we've got Classic Hollywood Month coming up, and then in July we've got Summerween coming up. Co-host, would
Woo!
you like to tell the listeners what Summerween is all about?
Yeah, Summerween is just celebrating Halloween in the summer. It's that simple. So we're gonna have a horror month, pretend it's October, even though it's only July, and talk about some of our favorite scary movies that we haven't gotten to yet.
Because there's a lot of scary movies that we haven't gotten to yet.
Exactly.
So, and on top of it, I do know that everybody's favorite An Evening at the Movies, well, one of their favorite co-hosts,
I was like, I'm
Mister.
right here.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not going to be impressed with the fact that Mr. Chancey Greif has a birthday coming up next month, and he personally requested his birthday movie.
I need to see it in writing or it never happened.
Do you doubt the fact that he would request this movie?
What movie is it?
Terrifier 3?
Yeah, I'm not watching that. So
Uh,
I love our
so
friend
that
Witness
may
Protection, but I don't love him that
we
much.
may put a pin in that episode until Chancey Greif returns from witness protection program, so that Amanda can take the week off, and Chancey and I will deliver the episode
Look,
for you.
I'm willing to do it chapter 1 or 2. I'm willing to do the mini series it. I'd be willing to do the Fun House, but I'm not doing any of the Terrifier movies. I just can't. It's
Killer
not just
Clowns from Outer
clown,
Space.
it's that they're too it's too gory. It's just too much.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I could do Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I think. We'd have to
Only
find out.
because that's so freaking cheesy and stupid
Right.
funny. So
Anyway,
lots of big stuff coming up um, in the next couple of months as well. We've got, whatever we're doing in August coming up. Stephen King birthday bonanzas coming up. Halloween Horror Fest, all that. Lots of big stuff going on the rest of the year. So stay tuned for all of that. With all that said, though, I'm going to step aside and um, give the microphone over to my awesome co-host, and she can say her goodbyes and wrap up the episode like only she knows how to. So the floor is yours, co-host.
all right. Thanks everyone for watching. If you watch live, you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you. Everyone listening, we appreciate you. We hope you enjoyed our review of the season 1 of Friends, and we hope you all come back for an evening at the movies. Goodbye.
Happy 30th anniversary, greatest TV show of all time.
I'll be there for you.